the English Premier League and its mid-season stats for 2021-22. It's time that I put a new video up. I think I've been looking at doing videos for a while now, but over the festive period it's just been too busy and I haven't had a chance. But while I've been doing my research to look at the models, to improve the models, which I'm always doing, especially the draw modelling predictions that I've got going on, while I was putting some stats together, I thought, you know what, people might actually find these useful, so I've got to make a video about it. It's nothing groundbreaking. It's stats that you can find from your usual websites, all compiled into one place, and then just me having a little look at them, noting down what I think might be useful for me going forward. So I'm not claiming that I'm reinventing the wheel here at all. I just thought, you know what, while I'm doing it, why don't I show people and see if they find it useful? So let's have a little look at what's going on. So for the EPL for 2021-22, so far we've had 180 matches played, which is actually 47% of the games. There's 380 altogether, so it would be 190 if we were 50% of the way through. But with COVID, it hasn't quite got there. But I think it's close enough to call halfway. Out of those 180 matches, there's been 76 games won by the home team, which is 42%. 56 games won by the away team, which is 31%, and 48 draws, which is 27%, which all in all looks kind of standard, kind of par for the course, I think. So looking on the next slide, we've got home win analysis. So just digging a little bit deeper into those home matches. So we can see that 106 of the 180 games played, which is 59%, had a home favourite in the betting odds. So I've been using Betfair odds. So this means that when you're looking at the odds, there will have been a favourite, and that would have been the home team in this case. 66 out of the 76 of them, the home wins were by the favourite. So that means that in the stats that we're looking at, there were 76 games where the home team won, and in 66 of those, the home team were favourite and expected to win, if you like. In the other 10, the home team were the underdog. The average home win odds over the whole 180 matches, so regardless of whether they were favourites or not, the average home win odds were 2.16, so just over evens. And if you break it down and look at the 66 winners who were actually home favourites and expected to win, the odds go down to 1.77. So you can see there that just because the average odds of home wins across the league was 2.16, the ones where you actually get the winners from, it's down as low as 1.77. 10 out of the 76, as we said, were won by the home team, who was indeed the underdog. So the odds would have expected the away team to have won the match. So that's just 13%. And the average home win odds for those 10 underdog games is actually 4.74. So, I mean, they're pretty long odds, really, aren't they, for a home win? But as you'd expect, some games, I haven't got one off the top of my head, but for example, if you had, I don't know, Burnley against Man City, and Burnley actually ended up winning, you could see that the odds would be somewhat similar to that, if not higher. So if we look at the home win betting, if we were to take level stakes at 1 point per home favourite, we'd be looking at a total point staked of 106, because there's 106 games where there was a home favourite. We'd have won 66 matches, and that would have left us looking at the odds at 50.99 level stakes profit to doing 40 losses, and that would have left a minus 40. And if we add those together, we'd actually would have ended up with a plus 10.99 level stakes profit if we bet on every game that had a home favourite. Pretty impressive. So what about away teams? So away win analysis. So out of the 180 games, 74 games had an away favourite in the betting, as mentioned before in Betfair. 45 out of 56, which comes at 80% of the away wins, were by the away favourite. The average away win odds were, out of the 180 matches, were 2.06, and the average away win odds of the 45 winners was 1.94, which again is lower, but not as much difference as it was with the home wins. 11 out of 56, so 20% of the away wins were by underdogs, and the average away win for the underdogs was actually 5.90. I've put an asterisk next to that because you just need to bear in mind that one heavy underdog will sway those odds quite heavily. So there's the Crystal Palace beat Man City 2-0, and that was huge odds, so that's why those odds are slightly higher than you might expect. So if you look at the away win betting, again at level stakes, 1 point per away favourite, total points staked would be 74. It'd be 45 matches that won, and if you'd have bet on every one of those with a 1 point per stake, that would be 42.20 level stakes profit. You add that together with the 29 losses, taking away the 29 level stake, and you would be left with a plus 13.12 level stakes profit. Again, not bad. So draw betting, which is something obviously that on the channel we've been looking at a lot. There's not as much analysis to be done on draw betting really when it comes to looking at these stats, because you're not obviously going to have a home and away favourite. If you were to bet blindly on draws in the 180 matches, you'd have obviously staked 180 points. There were 48 draws, so if you'd have used the odds given on Betfair, you'd have ended up with 135.12 level stakes profit. The remaining 132 losses, you take that away, and you'd have ended up with a plus 3.12 level stakes profit, which obviously is nowhere near as high as the home and away matches. And also, if you look at the bottom, I've just put a little caveat there: Man City versus Southampton, Chelsea versus Everton, which did actually both draw. If you add those together, that was 13.31 level stakes profit, just over those two matches. So if you took that away, you'd actually be in a deficit. So it just goes to show that you have to be careful when looking at the figures, because just two games at high odds will heavily sway that. So this should have been the slide before really, but the draw analysis, if you look at 0 matches have a draw as the favourite outcome out of the 180, which is to be expected. You never really get the draw as the favourite outcome. So as we mentioned, 48 of the 180, which is 27%, were drawn. The average draw odds for those 180 matches was 4.38, and the average draw odds for the 48 wins, or 48 draws that came in, was 3.81. Conclusions. What conclusions can we take from it? I'm not going to make too many conclusions. I'll leave that to you. I just wanted to present the figures really. But betting on favourites, if you add together the favourites for the home and away teams, you'd be 24.19 level stake profits up so far after 180 matches, which is quite surprising. I think it's pretty straightforward. It might be something that you might want to work into your betting portfolios. Betting blindly on draws is less stable. You were a few points up, but again, it's because of the two heavily priced draws, which you wouldn't normally put a bet on if you were analysing the data properly. But you know, it's quite encouraging. So when analysing odds, it's also important to look at the winners' odds, which I've been doing in this video, rather than just the odds overall. So when you're looking at what odds you can, the average odds of a home win for all 180 games, you might look at some quite healthy odds. But then when you look at the ones that won, the odds are going to be a lot lower. So just bear in mind that it's not always the average odds of every single game that you're actually going to be getting winners at. So that'll affect your profit. And as we said, the unexpected results can skew your figures, so just be aware of that as well. This is quite a small sample size, so I'd be cautious when making any massive assumptions on this data, but it might be helpful going forward just to bear it in mind when you're placing any bets or doing any analysis. Right, that's going to be it for now then. Thanks very much. Please like and subscribe if you found it interesting. You can head over to the website www.themathbetman.com and leave any comments you like below. Thanks.